Well, good day, everybody. My name is Craig Blanchette, the lifestyle coach, and this is our Crave Optimal Health podcast. Today, we're continuing to go through Dr. A's Habits of Health, and this chapter we're going to be going through today is actually chapter 17. Believe it or not, I don't know if you guys know this. How would you know? But chapter 17 was my favorite. If you look at the amount of highlights I had in this entire book, this had the most highlights. So it stood out to me the most personally. And so today we're going to be going through that and talking through it and really in my big picture overview of what we talk about with sleep is not something necessarily that it's not like a pill you take to change things overnight, but it's some things that you incorporate over time to work alongside your body to begin to sleep better. And so I have a co-host that's going to be joining us today. She's also a health coach. Her name is Christina Smith. So welcome, Christina. Good to see you today.
Thanks.
Yep. And so you did a little bit of work on this chapter here, and I'm sure you have some highlights and some different things we're going to kick around. So why don't you jump in?
Yeah, I took quite a few notes actually, because this is one of my favorite chapters too. So that's kind of why I picked it to talk about it some more, because I don't know, sleep is probably one of my favorite things to do. And I don't make it a priority sometimes, but this chapter really helped me to make it a priority and really focus on the importance of sleep and how it helps my body. So something that really stuck out to me is actually on the next page 212. And at the bottom, it's got this little text box on the bottom of the page. Wait, where are you? Oh, there you are, right there, where it says, lack of sleep is worse for women, they say, studies show. And it talks about a CRP, a C-reactive protein. Yep, right there. And I had to do some Googling because I didn't know what any of that stuff was. So I Googled. So the CRP is a substance produced by the liver that increases the presence of inflammation in the body. An elevated CRP level is identified with blood tests and is considered a nonspecific quote-unquote marker for disease. That was kind of eye-opening, because if I'm not getting the sleep, the CRP is going to go up, and then therefore I'm going to get sick.
Yeah, one of the other pieces that the C-reactive protein is part of the ways that Dr. A, our strategy with Optavia in our wellness program, is we eat foods that are low glycemic. And so they have a low effect, minimal effect on our insulin levels. Insulin's a hormone. Right. And insulin is related to C-reactive protein, or our inflammation levels. And so I've seen people that go in, it's a special blood test you can take, and you can get your CRP level taken. And then over time, my clients have seen that drop down to a healthy range, which means their inflammation's going down, which is a big deal.
It's a really big deal. I'm pretty sure if mine was tested, it would have been relatively high. Okay, so then if you go down on that same box, it talks about what's called an interleukin. It's a class of glycoproteins produced by the leukocytes for regulating immune responses, which means if the IL-6, the interleukin 6, is what that meant to me is that if it is not in a healthy state, then your immune system is going to tank relatively in a bad way.
Yeah. So just lack of sleep in women, increased inflammation, and your immune system function is decreasing.
Yes, and liver function, immune system, pretty much your body is not able to function in a healthy way if you're not getting enough sleep to provide that kind of protection internally.
Yeah, and as you continue on, it says the study of 71,000 female nurses, and they talked about having heart problems. Even those who slept 6 hours a night have a 20% higher risk. So the study is it's 7.5 to 8 hours is the sweet spot for not having these things. And if it's 6, or less, even 6 might be a lot. It seemed like a lot, but it's people had a 20% higher risk even with that.
And we women, with kids and everything else may feel like, we can only get a certain amount of sleep. But if it becomes more of a priority to get that sleep when you can, even if it is broken up into pieces with a newborn or children or whatever, and you're still getting that sleep, your body still has that opportunity to repair itself and be healthy internally.
That's great stuff. Hey, I want to talk about this chart here. How much sleep is enough? This was a fascinating chart here as to why it takes a while to get through these different stages of sleep.
Yeah.
And, the time it takes to fall asleep. The first stage is light sleep. Stage 2 is your brainwaves slow down and you start to actually rest. Deep sleep, those delta waves, stage 3, get all the way to stage 4, more delta waves, and then you get to the deepest sleep, which is REM. And what this states is that we want to get through 3 REM cycles a night to have the restorative, recuperative sleep. Now, I've got a little app on my phone, and it's called Sleep Cycle. And it actually sits next to my bed, and it can tell how much I move at night. And by how much I toss and turn, when I toss and turn, I wake up and I come out of REM sleep. So it can tell me how many cycles and what kind of quality I get. And I've been using that for a while, and it's fascinating. It can tell me those things. It was a free app as well.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, Sleep Cycle.
So in order for me to, because I have a 1-year-old, and in order for me to get my own time, I stay up late at night, not going to sleep on time. So now in order to get my healthy amount of sleep, I go to bed at a certain specific time and actually set an alarm, like an actual alarm clock. And I've been advised to leave my cell phone plugged in downstairs by my awesome health coach. And I've been doing that and been practicing that and setting an alarm to wake up at a certain time. And I've been doing that for about 2 weeks now. And it actually is creating a healthy habit for me. You're smiling because you know that it's because you said it.
I'm glad that it's working for you. It doesn't matter who said it. I'm happy for you.
My husband's so funny. He says that he can't get a lot of sleep at night. And I'm like, well, maybe you should try to leave your phone plugged in downstairs and you can set an alarm clock. And he's like, I'll consider it. Right. So I'm trying to encourage better habits with my husband also. The other thing is that getting up earlier than I would normally get up actually creates some me time. And I can sit there and have some me time before my daughter wakes up, and that's pretty amazing to have just every morning.
Let's talk about that, because I know we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
We were talking about sometimes, and this may be, so your typical, and this might be very, very common for folks, is that you have a hard day, and after everybody is in bed and whatever, you have some me time, and it's in the evening. But that me time is when you're exhausted.
Yeah.
So you stay up doing things that aren't really productive potentially, but it's sort of just existing.
You're kind of vegging out.
Yeah, kind of vegging out. Yeah, downtime, vegging out. And maybe you fall asleep on the couch, and maybe you go to bed, whatever. And so Christine and I, we talked about what if you as soon as your daughter goes to bed, you went to bed fairly quickly, and then you got up an hour or two before she got up, because the difference, it's still me time, but
Right.
it's me time with a fresh mind and with a quiet home.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm curious to see, it sounds like you did that, which I'm excited. It was just a suggestion. And tell me what you said. Tell me what the difference that you've experienced from your words.
Well, I'm still tired in both cases, but you're just waking up or you're just trying to go to bed, the two different circumstances. But in reality, I'm feeling a lot more aware of things in the morning. I actually want to get up in the morning earlier than I thought I would. And I have to force myself to take that downtime before bed at night in order to get my amount of sleep at night. Even if I wake up 3 times during the night, I'm still going to bed at a certain time and I'm still waking up at a certain time. And my body at some point will get used to that. But I have a different perspective when I have rather than having the downtime at night to the downtime in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm excited when my daughter wakes up, like I'm like, instead of her waking me up, I'm kind of waking her up in a way. Like, she knows that I'm awake, and it takes her like maybe a half an hour to 45 minutes before she actually wakes up, but I'm excited to go get her,
Yeah.
So that's part of it too. And like some of the tips that he talks about in this chapter, he talks about getting out of bed when your alarm goes off, and to limit your in-bed activities, to always associate in your mind with sleep with your bed. Nothing else other than maybe some intimate time with your spouse, but to limit your in-bed activities to those 2 things, and limit caffeine intake later in the day. Get off electronics at least 30 minutes before you go to bed, just to kind of calm your mind down so that you're not sitting with, because the eye of your mind, this is going to be weird to explain, but the eye of your mind actually stays turned on for quite some time after you turn your electronics off. And I think I read that in the chapter too. Mm-hmm. But it has its own thing that needs to be able to calm down also. So if you do that at the same time, you're choosing your healthy sleep over sitting up late at night, eating horrible snacks and playing on your phone. Yeah.
Well, think of that too. There's a good point you just made. Most of my clients that struggle, they say, I do great all day. It's when I get home in the evenings that I snack.
Yeah.
I wonder, as a suggestion, what if in the evenings you went to bed and then you woke up early? Do you think you would snack in the morning? I don't think so.
No.
I think you would get up and you might have some time. Maybe you pick up a pen and write out some things that are important to you. That's called journaling. But
sure.
You might get up and do that. Maybe you have an exercise routine. Maybe you do some personal growth and personal development time. Maybe you're not frantic and running out to get to work and always late. Maybe you have time to actually plan for a nice meal and you're not scrambling to get some fast food. Right. There's a lot of things. I just think there's more value to the 2 hours before the day starts than there are the 2 hours after the day ended.
Yeah, and I also think that the way that you sleep, the type of quality sleep that you get, I know this has affected me too. It affects the day that you have. It could affect the day that you have ahead of you. So if the night before you're not getting a lot of sleep, obviously you could potentially have a rough day. And it ripples everywhere you go, the way that your day is going and the way your perspective is. Getting restful sleep benefits every single area of your life, not just your body, but just in how your mind functions and works, your attitude, your eating habits, your perspective on your day. It just is, it's a very good thing to have. And there is such thing as too much sleep. But having the right amount of sleep in that sweet spot window is definitely a very, very important thing to focus on, have a priority.
One of the things that I was thinking about is when you're sleeping, think of your body as you have all these chemicals and hormones and different things that are inside the magic that makes it all work. And you drain those, you expend or you utilize those during the day. And then at night is when the factory turns on and the factory starts making more for the next day. So if you're only getting 4 or 5 hours, it's kind of like your factory is not, you get 50% of the happy hormones that you need for the day.
Yeah.
Right? And so getting that full amount of sleep is really important to replenish those hormones so that you have, it can change. It's these little things that you do over time. And as we're finishing up here, there's on page 214, they talked about different types of sleep, people that are larks and people that are night owls. And there's a hormone. Some people wake up groggy and some people wake up ready to go. And I thought this was fascinating about the level at which I think it's either GABA or it's melatonin. But when your body goes to bed, you have a hormone that paralyzes your body. And when you wake up in the morning, it dissipates slow in some people and faster in some people. And if you're a person that wakes up ready to go, you're someone that it dissipates quicker. And the other thing that helps to dissipate that, Dr. A said, when you go to bed, super important, valuable thing is to watch the brightness of all lights. So in the evening, install dimmers in your room. One of the tricky ones is your bathroom, because who puts a dimmer on their bathroom? So you go in to turn on turn on the light to brush your teeth, and the lights are bright. And so if you can have a night light or something that you go into the bathroom in the evening when you're brushing your teeth, and it's calmer light. And then Dr. A said, what's the first thing the most important thing to wake you up in the morning when you first wake up is to make it as bright as possible. So I have a little light next to my bed, and I just turn that, when I'm groggy, I turn that on and I stare at it. Right? And it's like I can feel myself sort of waking up, and then pretty soon I don't want to stay in bed anymore.
Sure.
Yeah. So those are just little strategies.
Something that really came to mind when I was reading this is, when you have a bank account and you're constantly withdrawing from your bank account, so your sleep bank account needs deposits in order for it to have withdrawals. And that's that goes along with the factory metaphor also. So so this chapter is really great to just dive in multiple times to be able to really sleep just doesn't benefit your body, but your body benefits the sleep also. And so they play off one another. So if this idea of getting more than 6 hours of sleep is foreign to you, then maybe it would be something to try.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I love what you've done. You've already taken some steps to make some changes, and you're seeing a difference in the quality of your day, the quality of your sleep. And so great stuff. Well, thanks for your presentation today and kind of the homework. And it's great that you had some real world, very, very current experiences with health or with sleep and health.
Healthy sleep.
Awesome. All right, guys, we will see you next time. This is Craig, the lifestyle coach, along with Christina. And we wish you an awesome day. And hopefully this podcast allows you to reinforce some of those subtle things that can make a difference in your health. Good night, everybody.